my longest, oldest, bestest friends, Paul Sharp.
Awesome. Yes. What we're going to do is I'm going to break it down for you real quick. We are going to work on edge weapons and how to defend against an edge weapon, which will also apply to any weapon within arm's length. And I'm going to show you guys the single most effective way to take care of this problem and how to train it every day. Okay? And you guys are like, man, I don't want to think about that crap because that sucks. You're right, it does. So that's why I'm going to show you a couple things that I do to kind of take our path into more of the light side of it rather than the gloom and doom side of it. So I want to get that across to you guys before we start working on edge weapons and killing people and sentry removal and all that cool stuff. I want to take you guys through a guided meditation exercise that I do kind of daily, where I kind of I yell this affirmation kind of at the world to let them know what I'm planning on doing to it. All right, so let's do this. So let's have Zach back to here. You guys move over here. Move this way. All right, cool. Stay right there. Where are you going, dude? Come back. Connection. Didn't you pay attention to Kane? All right, down here. All right, you guys just kind of scoot that way a little bit. Right here. No, Aaron, you go over here, dude. Don't try to bail. Don't even try to bail. All right, where do you want to go, man? You just want to do it all? Like, I got it all. All right, so we have here. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to need you guys are going to chant my mantra once we get there. I'll tell you what to say. And it's going to be empowering and positive and universe shaking. All right? It's what I say when I get out of bed in the morning. So, and then let's see. So where's Jim? Jim, can I have you just get these guys going on just a simple, it's a heart rate. So what I want you to do is just feel your heart, right? So it's just going to be real simple, just. All of you together? Cool. There we go. You guys don't. You guys are the mantra guys, right? You feel it? Kind of feel your heart? No, don't rush. We don't have a heart attack. Don't rush. There we go. All right, so what I want you guys to do is to be kind of my Buddhist chime. And we don't have a chime, so Lucas, come here, dude. I need you to help them keep the chime on track. Come on, dude. So all you want to do is right here.
Am I supposed to do this?
That's you, dude. All right, ready? And now we want to tell the world what we're planning on doing to it, right? So we're just going to say, we will rock you. Ready? And we will rock you. One more time. We will rock you. I don't believe you. Say it again. We will rock you. All right, that's good.
He's one of the best people I know. You know, he's sort of like I was thinking of how to describe him, and I felt like he's like a Buddhist, but he's very violent. But he's always like totally in control of that. You know, he just seems to he's never really a negative person. He's always just very happy. He's always just, but there's something underneath, which, you know, I know is there. I wouldn't say it scares me because I know him so well, but if I needed someone by my side in a bar, like, it's going to be Paul. If I needed someone to watch my house and my family while I was gone, it's going to be Paul. Right. Like, he's on a very short list of people that I will not mess with, but I would want him on my side in just about anything, actually.
So let's talk a little bit about what inspires me. So some of the things that inspire me and why I train like this is because I like doing what I do. I like my life, right? I don't have any hatred toward anyone. I have a lot of love for everyone around me. And the thing that inspires me most, when I think about it, I frequently will say jujitsu, right? Like, jujitsu gets me out of bed. And I'll tell you why. I had a pretty hellacious 4 or 5 year run here recently where some insane things happened, and it seemed like every time my phone rang, it was one more thing. You guys ever have those moments where you're like, seriously, man, lose my number. Like, give me a minute. You ever sit in your car at a traffic light and you're like, you got to be kidding me. Like any minute now, my significant other is going to wake me up and go, hey, you're snoring again. Like this has all just been a dream, right? But it's not. And it just keeps hitting and it keeps hitting.
It's funny that he calls it 4 or 5 years. It's hard time wise. Um, we remember him just going away for 6 months or a year because he was undercover, and then he would pop up for a couple of days. He would make contact. He'd be okay. And then he'd disappear again, for an extended period of time. And only afterwards do you find out, how he was living and what he was doing.
It was like hell on earth, and I don't know how anybody would go through that without the network I had. I had such an incredible support network of people that were just constantly checking on me, calling me, stopping by, all that stuff. It just,
It's huge.
yeah,
It's
huge.
the difference.
It was. Yeah, it really was, man. I mean, so many pitfalls that when you're in those circumstances where your mind just starts to go towards things that just aren't going to end well. So what's the secret, right? What's the key to any of that stuff is the recovery time. Like, can I minimize the recovery time? Like, how long am I going to be down? Like, if you've ever known anybody that struggled with like chemical addictions or anything like that, right? Yeah, I did. Man, I came out of my aneurysm and I was hooked on pain pills, and because right, they don't tell you. I mean, maybe they did, and I just was too out of it to. But they tell you, hey, you're going to be dependent. And I'm like, what's that mean? I don't even know what that means, So we come out of there, yeah, and then all of a sudden you realize, hey, I can't stop taking these pills, and I'm even taking them more than what I'm supposed to be taking them, and people are hiding them, and because you're not yourself anymore.
You were the last to know.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So then I call my neurologist and I go, hey, man, I'm having these weird issues. I stopped taking those pills, and now I'm really messed up. Oh, well, there's a process to step you off.
Okay.
You got to go through the process. Well, what's that mean, man? What do you mean step me off? Like, what are you talking about? And through all of that, though, and which was pretty intense, and it continues to this day, some elements of it, I always woke up and I thought, life is beautiful. Every single day, I woke up and thought, life's beautiful. Like, life's good, man. Life is beautiful. My kids are awesome. My family is awesome. My friends are supportive. I couldn't ask for a better support network to deal with what I'm dealing with. I couldn't imagine to have dealt with it by myself. That would have been I can't imagine. I have no idea what that would have felt like. And so I would frequently tell people it's jujitsu, right? Like that keeps me sane because I know I'm going to go and I'm going to hang out with all the people that know me and it's jujitsu, right? But then I realized because I got hurt, so my brain blew up and I had this aneurysm thing and I couldn't roll. And I still had tribe. I still had people that were like, hey dude, how you feeling? You want to go get coffee? Can I bring you something? You want to go do something? Hey, if I pick you up and take you to the gym, you want to just watch jujitsu? I'm like, yeah, man. Like, it transcends the physical stuff, and it became like this mental, spiritual, emotional bond with friends that I've had. Like Adam said, we've been friends for years, and we might lose touch, and we might not talk for a couple months sometimes, strangely, and then all of a sudden we'll talk, and it's like no time has elapsed, because that's tribe, and that's what we have, and we have to value that.
And then he got sick, and then the job thing was going on top of that. I was aware of all those things, from the time he had the aneurysm to even when he first got out from being undercover and he was trying to sort of come back into but Paul's not a person that complains. He's not a person that you ever know how bad it is until he's dealt with it. That's the way he is he'll have a stroke and he won't tell anyone about it, or he'll play it off until he's recovered from it, and then he'll tell you how bad it was. Because he really doesn't want he certainly doesn't want sympathy.
Sure.
He certainly doesn't want sympathy. He doesn't want anyone to feel bad at all because of what he's going through.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to necessarily know what he's going through while he's going through it.
We're going to actually work a knife defense system that I think is the very best system you can find without training knives. But what do I need to do damage to you right now, dude? Connection. I got to touch you. It's a contact weapon. So that means what? It's got to be in my hands, right? Can't do this, right? It's got to be in my hands. So what do we do every day in the gym? Hand fight. We control hands. We just did drill after drill, controlling hands, monitoring hands. All right? So let's do this. Everybody stand up. We're going to partner up, and we're going to work on our first drill. So we have to establish that connection. We have to get in there. Come here, Zach. So we got to establish connection with this dude. All I need to train this is to learn how to control this hand once it touches my body. Because if he was going to stab me with a knife, or if he was going to threaten me with a knife, and he's out here doing that, right? Like West Side Story, right? Right? When you're a jet, you're always a jet. But so we're out here. If he's doing this, what is this called? In the animal kingdom, what's this called? When they puff their chests? Posturing. Does it mean they really want to engage? Or does it mean they just want you to go away? They want you to be intimidated and skedaddle. So if that's all he's doing, and all it's about is my watch or my wallet, I don't care. Take it, dude. Like, I will drop that stuff and bail. Let him have it. So that's not the animal we're concerned with. What we're concerned with is the guy that's already here. This is the problem we have to solve right now. And what I have to stop first is this rotation right here. Okay? So as Coach Kane was talking about, right here, if I just do this and hang on for a second, we have attachment, but we aren't connected. He can still rotate, which is where the damage is going to start happening. He's going to start poking holes in vital spots, and it's going to suck to be me. So the first thing I want to do is connect my whole forearm across his chest right here. Elbow is far across, hand against the shoulder, and I'm just going to frame against his upper body so I can stop that rotation. My whole body's pushing. Like, I can't just do it. Remember, it's the worst day of your life. I've got to stop it. So, boom, I'm stopping him right there. Don't let him rotate. My second hand is going to do what? What do we do every day in the gym? Boom, monitor that hand. That's the first exercise I want us to do. You could probably stop right there and be good to go. But we'll take it further because it's what we do. I've started to realize that the key is not that you crashed and burned, not that you fell or that you made a mistake, but how quick did you recover? Like, how quick? Like, yeah, man, like, there are guys that, and like you said, you know, you fought the demon too, right? There are guys who will do well, and then all of a sudden, and the guys that bounce back, that are like, whoops, let me get back up. All right, okay, I understand my warning signs now. I get what's going to push me over the edge. Like, can't let that happen again. But then there's the guys that are like, well, this is bullshit. The program doesn't work. This doesn't work. That doesn't work. And they stay there. So they're running here, and then they crash, and they stay here, and they don't recover quickly. And that's the problem. So the key isn't the crash. The key is how long you're going to stay down before you get up and dust yourself off and go, hey, man, let me get moving. So what's the secret, right? What's the key to any of that stuff is the recovery time. Like, can I minimize the recovery time? Like, how long am I going to be down? Like, if you've ever known anybody that struggled with, like, chemical addictions or anything like that. Right, yeah. You know, I did. Man, I came out of my aneurysm and I was hooked on pain pills. You know, and because, right, they don't tell you. You know, I mean, maybe they did and I just was too out of it to... But they tell you, hey, you're going to be dependent. And we have that argument with ourselves, right? Well, you know, nobody's going to want me around anyway because they know I screwed up. You know, they know, man, I let everybody down. And that's the furthest thing.
That's you.
It's all you, man, because that's the furthest thing from everybody's mind. Because now, I'm like, if I was like, yeah, you know, hey, Vic screwed up. Well, where is he at? You know, why aren't we finding him? You know, right? And why are we not making sure he gets his ass back in here with the rest of us where it's safe? You know, and that's the thing, you know. It's, so knowing that that's how I would think, why would I look at everybody else and think they're going to treat me different? You know, like, I'm not that special. Everybody else is going to treat me just like they're going to treat you and everybody else. They're going to go, hey, dude, let's go. Come on, man. Get back up. Yeah, like, get back up. Get back in the gym. Get back in with us. Do what we do, you know, and quit groveling. You know, quit beating yourself up. You're not fixing it.
And it's actually, it's self-pity, and that's not a pretty thing.
No, it's not, man. It's the worst. It's the worst, you know.
He lives in a world where weakness just gets attacked. I mean, he lives in a very primal type world where you can't show any weakness. You can't let people know that you're not as strong as you were yesterday. It's why he stays so big. It's why he lifts so much weights. It's why he, you know, even though some of that is not great for him health wise.
Yeah.
You know, but that's the world he lives in. In hindsight, we helped get him through it. The tribe helped get him through it just by being there. You know, I think we underestimate how important it is for a man to just have someone they can talk to and just laugh with,
Yep.
or just shoot the shit with,
That's right.
or talk about just whatever it is, whatever nonsense it is. I think we discount that. You do until you need to talk to someone and you look at your phone and you're like, I don't have anyone. It's not even about help as much as it's just about a voice or a text or
Yeah.
knowing there are people. And I think that's the way the tribe helped Paul, and that's the way the tribe helps anybody. You know, I can go back and hundreds of text strings where it's me, Paul, and Rory, or me, Paul, Rory, and Matt, or me, Paul, Rory, and Matt. Like, just laughing and making fun of each other, and stuff that you don't realize, because it's not, we're not directly talking about the thing that's going on.
Right.
But most of us don't necessarily want that.
Right.
We just want to know that there are people out there that care about us. We want to know that there's a reason for us to keep pushing on, a reason to keep going when it gets totally shitty. And then he tells your story 6 months later about having an aneurysm while driving a car or something, and you're like, why didn't you say anything? And it's because that's not the support he needed from us.
That's right.
He just needed us to treat him like Paul and make fun of him and be there to talk and ask questions.
Down a little bit here, so it's harder for him to rotate on you. Is that shot?
Are you full short?
Yeah. Yeah.
I watched your video.
Oh yeah, back up. Yeah,
I
cool,
love
dude.
that.
Awesome, man. So if some dude's getting ready to smash me or I'm getting past, what do? This. I don't do this. It's the opposite of what we train all the time. So what do we need when it's going to be a oh my God moment? I can't believe this is happening. And the last thing I need going through my head is, what did I do at that seminar like 15 weeks ago? Right? I need, what did I do yesterday in the gym? Oh yeah, frame. All right, so we're just going to shut them down right here and stop it. We'll go on to the next step now. One of the questions that also comes up is, at what point do I intercept? And I always tell people, you're probably already going to be stabbed at least once before you realize the knife's in play. Unfortunately, that's how it works. I've had friends that have been stabbed. I've been stabbed. There's guys in this room that have been stabbed. If they want to share their story, that's cool. And they all say the same thing. I didn't know a knife was in play until I either saw it or it hit something hard, like a bone, where it was like, ow, and then you realize. Or one of my friends got stabbed in the face. That's when he realized it was a knife. Prior to that, he thought we're just hooking and jabbing. And then he realized, so that's why I don't worry too much about where do I intercept. Just do what we do every day. Guy gets within arm's length, puts his hand on you, what are you going to do? Frame him out and lock down. So then what's the next thing we want to do? What should I probably do to the weapon-bearing arm, regardless of what the weapon is? Isolate it, right? If that's the most dangerous attack coming at me in judo, jiu-jitsu, or boxing, what do we do to that attack? Isolate it and shut it down, correct? We don't do something goofy that we don't do every day. Just going to do what we do all the time. So I'm going to shut it right here, and I'm just going to drop my shoulder in here, that connection again, right? I want to know where he's at, and I'm going to put both hands on here like a baseball bat, okay? Now, that's not to say if you have the skill, again, to go right here, arm drag into a 2-on-1, by all means, do that. I would say do that if that's your skill level. But if you're here, you just got rattled, you're trying to figure out what's going on, you realize there's a knife do this until you can figure out what to do. You can still go arm drag, you can still go 2-on-1, and we will do that. But for right now, I want the sequence to be shut them down, okay? Have them give you a little resistance, a little push and a pull, make sure you got them shut, and then go here. Drop your shoulder right in against their shoulder and stop right there for now. Right here, yeah, and then here. Okay. You know?
Cole is one of the most influential people in my martial arts development, actually.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. He understands the close range stuff
Yeah, clearly.
at such a high level that I was able to develop a lot of the stuff that I do in there for MMA because of stuff that he has worked with me and taught me and gone back and forth with me over 15 years.
Wow.
But that's what he wants to talk about. He wants it's just a connection to other people. That's, to me, that's one of the most important parts of the tribe.
Now, what happens? I know, like, it's typically going to be sort of like a sucker punch. It's going to be bigger motions. But what if somebody's like,
that's what I'm
straight?
Yeah, that's what I'm really worried about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm working on. Because what I do is I have him start right here, because that's worst case scenario. Is he's got the back of my head, and he's got this, and then I got to stop this rotation. Because a lot of what those guys do is they'll lock their elbow to their side and do this.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So I want to stop that rotation.
Yeah. Okay.
Any questions? It is. I try to make it as sure. I try to make it as simple as possible, right? So what's the quote attributed to Einstein is as simple as possible, but no simpler, right? And so I try to make it that way so that there's less to process, less to think about. If all you worry about, if your prime directive is shut down the weapon-bearing arm, everything else that we do every day will carry through. Like, you're going to kick in and do stuff like, there's guys in this room that have, in like a law enforcement capacity, pulled off a triangle choke against a guy who's violently resisting. There's people in this room who, in domestic battery situations or domestic violence situations, have used guard, shield, knee shields, and everything else to keep themselves safe and protected in a bad situation. So my point to you is, don't ever ask me again if you should take Krav Maga in addition to your jiu-jitsu, okay? And because there's been a long time where we have kind of surrendered, not even surrendered, but we've just kind of looked at it like, I don't even want to engage in that conversation. And I think it's time that we do, because it does a disservice. We have the absolute best female self-defense program out there. We have the best self-defense program out there. We have the best, potentially the best law enforcement program out there. What more do you need, man? Why would you need to go anywhere else, right? Like, everything you need, you will find in your home gym. And I'm not saying that as in some sort of weird, like, inbreeding kind of thing. I'm saying it as a realistic, right? Because you don't want to be the guy that's like, yeah, our family tree is one trunk. But what I am trying to say is that you will have everything you need if you just show up and train. One of the things I learned, and I got this from my aunt, who's a remarkable person. She's a remarkable person. My cousin was born Down syndrome, and he's a little older than me, so you can imagine at that time. She actually went to a restaurant, and some folks in the restaurant turned around and go, "Why would you bring that out?" Because he's being a little Down syndrome kid, which is not that big of a deal now. But can you imagine, because now we would see that and think nothing of it, just say, okay, there's another kid, right? But back then it was a big deal, like not to be seen, keep them at home, and people forget that.
People would actually get rid of that.
Right.
Embarrassment.
Exactly. So what she did instead was she created a thing called the Chester Y Center. It's like an assisted living place for folks with Down syndrome, learning disabilities, things like that. Because as they get older, it's like, well, they want to get out and live, man. They want to see and do all the things they see. It's not like they don't see and understand what else is going on in the world around them, right?
Of course not.
And so why would we think that these guys need to be locked away? So she got upset. She got fired up.
It's disgusting, actually.
Exactly. She got fired up about it. and got this whole thing started, and now it's huge. They've got, you know, double digits houses, you know, like 30 some houses that they own around Maryland where these guys can live. They have their own, they have a caretaker come in and make sure everything's good. And she's been Maryland's most beautiful person. She's received awards from politicians, governors, you know, presidents and all that stuff. And so she was a big influence on me. And
That's a good influence to have.
yeah, for sure, right?
Yeah.
And she always, since I was a little kid, would say to me, when I would say, like, you know how like you get down on yourself, you know? And she would always say to me, would you talk to anybody else like that?
Love that.
Right?
I love
Like,
that. I've heard that before.
yeah.
Always resonated.
Yeah, she would always say that to me. And so when I was going through things, you know, just struggling, I would always remember that. Like, you know, would you say this to a friend in the identical circumstances, except you're the guy standing outside looking in? Would you talk this way to them? Would you beat them down like this, or would you find a way to encourage them? Tell them the truth, like you can't pull punches. You got to tell the truth. You got to shoot straight and be authentic, right? But you don't need to be a dick. You don't need to beat them down and destroy them, right? And so why would I talk to myself that way? And so having her kind of just preach that to me since I was a little kid, it's always stuck with me.
Okay, no, that's huge, man, because I think that's really, that facilitates every bad thing that a person does to themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, it starts in here.
Yeah,
that internal
absolutely.
dialogue.
Yeah, we got, I don't know if you're going to get there or not.
Yeah, we'll go there.
Hand switching?
Yeah, it don't happen.
Okay.
We'll go there. Okay. Next question that comes up frequently is the switch. Do they hand the knife off to the other hand? And I have people who've watched a lot of YouTube video, particularly prison, because that's probably the largest knife culture on the planet is prisons, correct? And you don't ever see these guys switch hands. Once, I think in like 10,000 hours, is an example or footage of a guy switching hands, and it wasn't an intentional switch. He had been hit with 40 millimeter in the chest by one of the guards. So he's laying on the ground. As they're coming in, he sees opportunity. The knife's over here. He grabs it with his left hand and stabs the guy one more time. So if you want to call that a switch, it's a switch. But for the most part, what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to get a hold of you and just start punching, driving holes. Okay, so if we can shut this down, everything else gets simple, because that's essentially what we're shutting down with this motion right now, right? We are framing, monitoring the hands, not letting him have that hand back, establishing that connection, not letting him break that connection, and then we're going to deal with him. Make sense? Again, what is all that stuff? That we do
Every day.
yes, right? Isn't that awesome? Like, you don't have to do anything other than this. Like, you don't have to be like crazy. You don't have to like put t-shirts over steaks and gnaw through it. You don't have to like go out and like spend time at a knife show. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You can just come here, be a normal, balanced person, and just do what you love, right? Have fun, balanced, right? Have fun with your friends, and then walk out of here and be badass. And have absolute belief that all I got to do, man, is connect with you, dude, and you're in trouble if you mean to do me harm. Does that make sense? Cool. All right, up. Let's go. So once I go here, so I'm going to shut down that rotation, because, again, this is the one I'm really worried about. The guy that's out here doing this stuff, or the guy that's doing all this kind of stuff, I mean, if you have boxing skills because you're paying attention and the guy's doing all this, what is that? He's trying to, like, hit me with something. Yep. Right? So we'll just connect. So like, why? Right? Look, that's not my purse. So I'm gonna lock him down. I'm gonna stop that rotation. This is truly the most dangerous thing I have to be worried about, because once he controls the connection, I'm in trouble. I'm controlling connection. But drop in here, baseball bat on that, and then I'm gonna put this shoulder right behind his shoulder. All right? Just like you get off the cage. How do you guys get off the cage? Drag, put the shoulder behind, drive him into the cage. Right? Old school. So here, I'm just going to switch, put my shoulder behind his, and right there, what am I set up for? You have to have like a hierarchy, right? And one of the hierarchies is that cross face. Like, I'm not letting him have that. He can have this, but he's not going to cross face me, because I know what happens once that cross face sinks. So I treat it the same way. Not letting him have it back. You're going to talk to yourself in ways you'd never talk to anybody else. Right. And I think a big part of that, man, again, man, it just comes back to the people around us. We have to only allow people around us that shoot straight, but they're encouraging. You know, I mean, I don't want somebody to lie to me, and that's why I love Adam Singer, right? Because he'll shoot you straight, dude. Like he will set you straight, but it's never mean spirited at all. Like the root of it, no, it's authentic. He's just telling you because if you ask him, then you must want an honest answer, right? And you know, and like to at the camp, where we were talking about, we were joking around about splitting atoms because he's a brainiac. I mean, we can talk about it later too if you want to split atoms and all that, but yeah, for sure. And I value that because it keeps me on track. But I enjoy those conversations because he dives deep in to all the little details and it forces you to come up with a legit answer. Like you can't just go because. Or you realize, it's not a good thing. I probably shouldn't be doing it, right? Even though I like it, I probably shouldn't be doing it. And yeah, and it's the same. And that's the same thing. We need people like that around us who are authentic, man, who have our best interests in mind. They want to see the best of us, And then when we have those people, then that self-talk, it's almost like a search engine optimization thing, right? So, right, like because that bad,
SEO now.
yeah, right. Well, think about it, right? So that bad, what voice comes to the top first, right? So the one that gets the most hits, the one that we access the most, the one we're constantly looking for.
That you're on the most, right?
Yeah, and that's the one that's usually negative. If that's our pattern, is I get down on myself and then I keep getting down on myself. And what we need is somebody to come along and push that crap back to like page 10 of Google in our brain, right? And bring the good stuff to the page 1. Like, hey man, you do all these other things and you're good at all these other things. Yeah, you do that, so stop. But meanwhile, all these other things are still here.
Right.
And that's where you need those guys that are around you that are genuine and will shoot straight. They'll just tell you straight up, like, hey man, you're an awesome person. You've got all these cool things. Knock that part off though. Right. But that's all we're going to talk about it. We're not going to dwell on it. We're not going to, it's the, what's the saying about, you praise what you want to grow.
I've
Yeah,
never heard that, but I love that.
yeah, it's like you praise what you want to see, and you praise what you want to grow. You praise what you want to see, and you
That's
just
dog training, I think. Man.
straight up, man.
He's been a mentor to me when it comes to martial arts and shooting and self-defense. I won't teach a self-defense seminar without talking to him first. I watch him, like when we're in a restaurant, we're in a bar. I watch the awareness he has of what's going on. But he's always smiling, he's always laughing, he's always trying to make people laugh. It's very interesting. It's definitely, I think, what we all sort of strive to be able to do. Thing about Paul is when he's teaching this material, you trust it even more because of what he's been through.
That's right.
And if he trusts the material to get him through SWAT cops, street cop, just undercover stuff, just working with some of the most elite forces in this country, if he can earn their respect because of everything he's been through, I think that it adds something different to the material. What his background is. He trusts this material to get himself home. You can trust this material to get you home.
Biggest demon is the one that's in here,
For sure.
right? Like, so when I'm like in my hotel or I'm at my house at 1 a.m, that's the demon, right? That's the dude that's got the big mouth that's sitting here telling.
Yeah, unchecked.
Yeah.
Telling you bullshit.
Yeah, so I think when those times come, that's when you need that network where you have that constant deposit being paid in of, hey man, you're valuable. We want you here. This. These are all the reasons we want you here. These are all the reasons, these are all the things you contribute to our tribe. These are all the things you bring to us that are excellent, that are amazing, that make us want you around and want you to be part of what we do. And this other thing over here, this little voice that keeps popping up in your head, reminding you of that one bad decision you made, or the last time you screwed up, right? Or whatever it is, that voice, man, ignore that voice. Because we need all these other voices to be louder. And I think the only way to do that is repetition.
No.
As silly as that sounds, right?
No, I think that's a huge part of it, but it's also that God, any good psychology, any good philosophy, is the Socratic method. Is that true? You
Yeah.
know, right?
Right, yeah, man. I mean, and that's an excellent point, you know. How many times do we say something to ourselves? And I went through counseling, right? So I went through a divorce. It was pretty nasty. And, you know, talk about making mistakes, right? You know, you make your mistakes and you deal with it, right? There's fallout.
Yeah, but you
Just
don't want a partner to be echoes the worst voice in your head.
exactly. But there, you know, there was one of the things that I came out of that. I went to counseling that was offered through the Catholic Church, and I'm not even Catholic, but the guy was really cool. I go to counseling with this father, and we're talking, and he was super cool with me. And what he would say, you know, frequently, you know, we were sitting in counseling, and I'm like, you know, I just want I want everybody. I want a flamethrower. I want to burn it all down and start over. And he would constantly say, "Is that true?" And then he's like, how do you know that's true? Like, you know. And, you know, and it was cool because he's like this 80-year-old guy, you know, and I'm not Catholic, you know, nothing against Catholics, but I'm not even a Catholic, but he was still super cool to me. And
Who's forcing you to examine
right.
your own bullshit?
Yeah, and he would just right there. He just like so, and it was funny because I would be like, "Yeah, it's true," you know, and he's like, "So you know, 100% this is true." So if there were an imaginary camera crew to follow you around, and we were to watch the film later, what we see on film and what we
said
hear
this.
you say, yeah, is the same, you know. And I'm thinking, well, now you got me questioning myself, dude. Now I'm wondering, is this really all just crap I'm making up in my head and I just won't let go because I enjoy suffering? Like, why am I doing this, man? Why am I beating myself up? You know? And it goes back to the other thing we were talking about. Like, I wouldn't talk to my friends this way. Why am I talking to myself this way? Why am I beating myself down constantly? You know, like, sometimes, man, it helps to just listen to your friends. If your friends tell you you're a decent person, maybe you are.
To me, he is that warrior poet, and the warmth he has, and the living in the moment that he has, while also being this deadly warrior. Like, I consider him really a throwback to what we are emulating as martial artists. You know, I think complete martial artist Paul is among, you know, the tops of all of us. You know, because he's used the martial part. He loves the art part. He loves to learn. Uh, but he doesn't let it shape his personality into something hard and cold.
So that's what inspires me. I hope that's what inspires you guys because as John was talking, sometimes you can roll 3 or 4 times in a week, right? And then like say like right now I have like a little tiny bicep tear that's a nagging injury that continues to kind of go in and out. It's kind of cool. It looks like a meteorite coming through the skin. But if my sole thing in this was, well, if I can't roll, dude, I'm heading back to the hotel. I'm just going to hit the bar. Like, this sucks. Everybody else gets to roll and have fun. And the second somebody gets on my arm, I got to be like a baby about it. No, because it's the tribe. I still get to stand here with all you cool people, with people that have supported me through everything and been there for me through everything. And they could care less whether I'm rolling or not. They just want to hang out and talk, see me, and getting to see you guys do everything I love to do is what inspires me. It fires me up. I'm like, look at this, man. All these healthy people doing this art that we love, whether I get to do it or not right now, it still just like keeps me going. Like, I wake up and I think life's beautiful.
So Paul's friendship over the years has meant a tremendous amount for me. Before I taught this cage system, which I've developed and I'm very proud of, I ran it down with him, right? Because I need his approval. I need him to tell me where the holes are. So that's one level of our friendship.
Wow.
The other level is we share the same values. We share the same thirst. We, you know, his love for life is really contagious.
I really think that that's that big tribe thing, like that tribal kind of, you know, you have your elders, you have the people within the tribe that you can trust that if this guy's telling me not to do this,
I'm gonna do it.
yeah, it's legit.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't just a knucklehead drinking buddy. You know, this is a guy who's,
know-it-all.
yeah, this is a guy who has my best interest in mind, always has my best interest in mind. And when they're telling me something, I should probably listen. So I think, man, I think the answer to that comes back to what we stress all the time. You know, it's like we have to create this tribe for people, this feeling of belonging, this connection that there's no way you can fail because I'm not going to let you. I mean, you're going to fail to learn, maybe, but that's part of it. But we'll fail together. You know, yeah, I'm going to be there with you. And if we get that across to people, I think, one, there's nothing we can't do to make this a better place and to make people better and give them their best self. Because, you know, the saying is that my best self's in here. It's this, I don't need to make it, I need to find it, right? And so, yeah, just let it out, man. All the ingredients are here. You know, it's just how do I put it together? And I think, yeah, if we could create that kind of that feeling of tribe, of trust, then I know for sure I would not make so many mistakes.
You just know, like, a person is amazing when the room is better when they're in the room than when they're not there.
Oh man,
So,
nice.
and that's Paul is really like that. Paul is one of those people who it's just better to have him around and him not be around.
I was walking back to the hotel and we were talking about mental illness and some other things, and I was like, man, you know, I can't imagine a day where I would wake up and be like, life's not beautiful. Even if everything was taken from me, if I had this, what we have, whatever this is, right? Jiu-jitsu, whatever you want to call it, if I still had this, I'd be like, dude, this is awesome. Life is beautiful. I'm Paul Sharp, this is SBG, and you'll be okay.